you. Okay.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Women Who Rock with Success, which is an award-winning show for professional women. We profile a collective of amazing women who are thriving to build their brand. Women are handpicked in various fields who can provide credible information to build your business and lifestyle. We are live each Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time, followed by our latest brand, Women Who Rock Investigates. To learn more about us, go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. Now, let's join our podcast host in the studio, Mrs. Diane Winbush.
And good morning, everybody. Good morning. And thank you so much for tuning in with us. And, of course, we're continuing. You know, last month I think it was Women Month for the month of March, and then it was Black History Month for the month of February. But it seems like we cannot stop this role of women coming in with film directing, and especially with the fashion design and what have you. And we're going to continue this until it stops. And I love it. I really do, because we have to be open-minded when it's for business and when it's for education and when it's for entrepreneurship, whether you're a corporate America professional or whether you own your own business. We have to always keep an open mind. That kind of helps us to, I guess, nurture and water the brain somewhat. And so today we have a fabulous guest in the studio with us today, and she is also a film director, just like we had last week. That was so phenomenal. And so we are going to learn from her today. And her latest production that she is bringing to the audience and to the curtains, and she is none other than Miss Sunnie McFadden-Curtis. So good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Diane.
You are so welcome. So let's get started. So let's kind of warm up a little bit about telling us a little bit about you and what was the impact that kind of started you in the field of film directing. What was it, your passion, that kind of drove you to this? Because a lot of times some people, it may start late. And sometimes it may start early, and sometimes it's something when they were a child, teenager, college, or what have you. So everyone has a different story. So share with us your story as to what kind of got you started into this area.
Okay, I'd be happy to. This is kind of a two-part answer, but I was raised in a suburb of Toronto, and at a young age I had great interest in the arts, in teaching, and I was made to be socially conscious at a very young age. And something in me forever wanted to find a way to marry all of those things together. And eventually I found a way to do that through my documentaries and advocacy. And the reason why I produced Broken Vows, Stories of Separation is because, Diane, I kept meeting an influx of women who were sequestered in the court system for years, or were, having difficulties getting past the paralysis that they were experiencing during separation. And they had questions, and they didn't know where to find the answers. And being an advocate for women and children, I set out to find those answers, and boy, did I ever, which is where Broken Vows, Stories of Separation grew from. So that's where it really stemmed from.
Okay, great, because everyone has their different way of telling their story. Sometimes it's films, sometimes it's videos, sometimes it's webinars and what have you, and that is so awesome simply because of the fact that it can captivate the audience. And as we had previous guests that we had on the show last week, it was something in reference to, let me talk to this type of audience. Let me talk to the urban culture. And sometimes people run to television and mobile devices to be able to get the answers that they need. So I think that is so, so very wonderful. We want to talk about a topic that is very trending in the United States or in America, and it's affiliated somewhat according to the first film that you released, Bullying, a Culture, Bullying, and then it's the semi-topic is a culture of silence. And so we know that bullying is a very, very serious issue. Sometimes we even see the school teachers, the educators, kind of take it a little bit too far also when they're there to be the mediator, but they kind of perhaps maybe even make the situation even worse when it comes to mediating in a bullying type of case. And this is rising in the United States. People bully individuals in their homes. Sometimes people are being bullied on their job sites, corporate America. There's different types of bullying. So we want you to be able to share with us some of the takeaways of that film, Bullying, A Culture of Silence.
Well, you're right. Bullying is prevalent, and it's a very serious topic. And if not dealt with appropriately, sometimes people die as a result of it. And so I was very involved in anti-bullying education, and I spoke internationally about it. But, yes, I also produced Bullying, A Culture of Silence. And, you on the heels of what you said in terms of administration, it's not something you can ignore because it's not going to go away. And schools have to have a clear and present message that it's an anti-bullying zone, and they have to have proper continuous education around the subject matter. And when a child comes to you and says that they're being bullied, you need to listen to them and hear them and, act upon it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So simply because of the fact, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and so you're right. There is an issue with bullying, but it's been around forever and for many years. And again, if not dealt with appropriately, those who are experiencing it, stemming from children right up to adults, will be seriously affected by it. And so I focus on the topic of children because it's so big and pervasive that I had to focus on one area because that took me alone 3 years. So, but yes, it is a very serious issue and continues to be.
Okay. So before we get into your latest release, Broken Vows, we want to talk about when you share your heart. This is, to me, this is what it kind of seems like. When an individual, that's a lot of work in film producing and production and what have you. So in your heart, towards the audience, kind of what does this do for you? Is this rewarding for you as a film producer? You have to get these casts together. You have to get all of these things together, making rehearsals, and then you have to go over them over and over and over. I think we had a guest on here, I think in the month of March, and she was one of the little children that played in the movie called Friday with Chris Tucker and Ice Cube, and she said it was just multiple types of rehearsals, 25 and 30 over and over and over. And so let me set an example out. If there's an assignment that I'm doing and what have you, I give a lot of energy out of it when I'm preparing to be able to present it forward to the audience. So what does this do for you? What is the heartfelt takeaways for you when you're actually sending a message to the world? This is not you sending a message just to America. These films this is a global international production that you are bringing to the table to individuals where they can be able to see exactly what is going on, whether it's in the front or whether it's hidden behind closed doors. So what does this do for you? What is the impact like? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, in terms of, I'll start with my subjects. And firstly, I want to just say, Diane, that when it comes to documentaries, these are real people. There is no rehearsal in the production of documentaries. They're telling the real and raw stories. And in the case of a few of my subjects, I interviewed them multiple times over years. And one of the things that brought me a lot of joy was that before my very eyes, multiple times, I saw my subjects releasing the pain that they've been holding on to, in some cases for years, as a result of sharing their stories, knowing and hoping that this will help people. And I, as a director and a filmmaker, hope the same, that this will have a ripple effect. That brings me great joy to know that this project will help many people going through sometimes the most psychologically time in their lives. and to educate. It's important, through our documentaries that we educate. And having diverse stories, again, I'm hoping that it'll reach, diverse people out there in what they're experiencing. So it brings me immense amount of joy to know that and I am helping people, and I mean that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely, I can feel that, because even with with what we do video and we do podcasting, communications, we do interviews as well, but it's not about trying to get, in my perspective, it's not about me trying to get to the 100% top level. I can't get to the level if I can't hear the people's hearts. And so that's the reason why sometimes I will ask those types of questions, because there has to be some sort of takeaway on the inside for an individual to be able to do what you do, and the other film directors, producers, and also those that film documentaries such as yourself. So that's the reason why I asked that question. I feel that a person's heart has to be into what they're doing, so the people can be able to see the message, from it. So here's the next one that we're going to talk about, and it's going to be Broken Vows, Stories of Separation. And so we want to for you to share with the audience, of course, as to some of the story plots of this documentary, and I guess some of the takeaways of this film.
Okay, well, firstly, Broken Vows, Stories of Separation is a feature-length documentary that pulls you into the lives of women and shares their stories, their intimate stories of separation, and those caught in the crossfire. Now, let me tell you that it is the reality of separation, but it will take you through the darkness to the light. And I'm hoping that my audience takeaway will be that they will find solace in the fact that they're not alone, and that they can get through the darkness to the light. Now, the stories are diverse, all over the place, but I will tell you that one of my subjects released something in front of me that he had been holding on to for 36 years. He is the father of one of my lead subjects, Colette. His name is Joe. And I wanted to get the perspective of family and friends in terms of what it was like for them to be in support of their family member going through this. And you won't believe this, Diane, but before my very eyes, as I mentioned, he shared a story with me that he held on to for 36 years. And again, before my very eyes, I watched him release, everything that he'd been holding on to. And it's quite captivating, as are all my stories. But we touch upon most areas of which people will deal with when going through a separation.
Okay. Wow, that is so awesome, because there is a big divorce rate that's in America today, and so with the Broken Vows, this is something that I guess I want to share, that when you said from darkness to light. And so there's a movie that was produced, it was probably back in the 90s, I want to say, it was starring Meredith Baxter Burney, and it was called Darkness to Dawn. I think I went on Amazon Prime and purchased the movie the other day, because it's a different little elements, and I love the producer, how they laid it out. This actor, well, I'm not for sure if this was a real life story, but what she was going through, it was a relationship, and somehow the husband, her and the husband was on some substance abuse issues, or had substance abuse issues, and in order for her to be able to get to the light, she had to stop blaming other people, for her downfalls, for her down pits, and it did separate their relationship and their marriage. But this woman was a nurse, and she came all the way back 100%. And I'm telling you, it just had my eyes just bawling, at the end. I was just wondering because I love for women to be open and transparent, to be able to share their stories so it can be able to help other women. Now, I'm not a nurse or anything like that, or had any just basically broken vows or had not did any substance abuse. That's not the point. The point is that this woman was able to get herself back on track after she had went through a broken marriage. I think she had her little kids stealing and things like that in the store. This is a nurse. This is an RN nurse. And this woman pulled herself all the way back. And so I just love it how the producers will come in and they will make that story plot so thick to grab the audience in and hook them in and keep them watching. And so I thought that was, and it just made me think about it when you brought up From Darkness to Light. So that's great. So tell us a little bit about your company, Bench Boy Productions. Share a little bit about that.
Well, Bench Boy Production was grown out of, unfortunately, experiences that my family had experienced.
Okay.
And one of my children was bullied, and it went on for some time. And a lot of the time, my child would sit on a bench alone at recess with no one to play with because they were being excluded. And so Bench Boy was grown out of my child sitting on a bench alone. And so it has been my mission thus far to do socially conscious documentaries that will give back and, again, help people. But that's where Bench Boy, the title, was grown from.
Okay, great. That is so awesome. I'm serious. That's awesome. So kind of tell us a little bit about some of your short-term goals for documentary of what you want to inspire the world with. You know, I know we have Broken Vows, and then you have the previous documentary that we talked about. But are there any upcoming future documentaries that you would that you're going to be sharing with the world, so we can, of course, stay tuned, so we can be watching constantly?
Well, thank you for asking, Diane. So I have been working in the area of education with my documentaries for many years now, and I have other stories to share as well. But I'm going to step away from documentaries for a moment in time and walk towards nonfiction, like a psychological thriller, which is based on true events. And I also am stepping towards a heartfelt drama. And both of these are based on true events, and in their own way, again, will educate people and help people. But one other thing that I'd like to mention, if I may, is that right on the heels of finishing Broken Vows, I went right into production for a 6-volume digital resource. And this resource answers over 350 questions pertaining to separation, from legal to wellness for women after separation, to being in abusive relationships, to dating after separation. And so it took me a year to produce that because I didn't want any of the useful and helpful information from the doc to fall on the editing floor. So I produced it into a 6-volume digital resource. And that's called Broken Vows, Stories of Separation, the resource. So, but yes, I am going to step away from documentaries for a moment in time, but there'll always be a strong message in my films.
Okay, absolutely. That's fair enough. So with the last question, of course, we want to be able to give you an opportunity to be able to share with the audience as to where to be able to find your documentaries that you have produced, and then if you would, like for the audience to be able to follow you on any of your social media handles or your links, you can be able to provide that at this time. And any, also, if there's, any publications that you have released, you can be able to share all of that information with the audience at this time.
Well, thank you for that. So, yeah, Broken Vows, Stories of Separation can be found on Prime Video in the U.S., Apple TV across North America, Google Play across North America, Fandor, Vudu, and Hoopla. And there will soon be more platforms that will be released on April 24th. And yeah, my social media handles are, and this is Instagram, Sunnie, SUNN, like Norman, IE, BIZ13. And then I have another Instagram, which is Broken Vows Documentary. And that's on Instagram. And then I also, if they want to learn more about the resource or anything that's going on in my world of filmmaking, they can go to my website, which is brokenvowsfilm.com. That's brokenvowsfilm.com, and Sunnie, SUNNIE, BIZ13.
Okay, great. We have enjoyed you on today, Sunnie, in the studio, sharing the latest and the previous films that you have released to the world. And, of course, we'll be following you on these platforms, whether it's documentary or you have something else that you would like to share, in film production. We certainly will be doing that. So thank you so much for being our guest on today. And, listeners, you can also go to our website or our Facebook page, actually, on Women Who Rock with Success Media.com on the Facebook, and then we're also on Instagram as well, so you can be able to follow us and continue to find out who's the latest guest on our show. So thank you once again, Sunnie, for being with us, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Diane. And I just want to say that I am open to listeners reaching out to me if they have stories to share or are looking for some direction. Now, I'm not an expert, but I certainly have a lot of answers to, as I mentioned, 350 questions answered in my resource. And I'm really happy for people to reach out and share with me. Thank you again, Diane, for having me. It was an absolute pleasure being with you.
Okay, you bet. Have a wonderful day.